Hello, welcome to my channel, another bibliophile reads. My name is Greg, and today I'm going to show you some of my vintage horror paperbacks. Some of these do qualify for the paperbacks from hell category. Some are just old horror paperbacks. I've read a lot of them. A couple of them I have not read but want to read, but I still think they make neat books to show. So I'm going to go roughly in printing order. So the oldest printed books first to the newest. And most of these are pretty darn old. Now, the first one is one of the books that I have not read yet. This is Dennis Wheatley, To the Devil, a Daughter. It is actually written in 1953. This book was published, at least this edition was 1977. It has a very nice naked lady on the cover, covered in flames, and it has a goat head for the devil. Now, Dennis Wheatley is just a very famous horror novel. As I said, it was written in the 50s, so I expected to read something very dated. And he's supposedly a very mannered story, but still something I got to read one day. Lupe, or Loop, and this is by Gene Thompson. This was another 1977 paperback. It is about an evil child. And you know, books about evil children are just great. And you have this wonderful step back cover of the boy, presumably in a bed or a coffin. Don't know much about it. It is set in New York City, I believe, and I always liked books set in New York City. And this is a strong candidate for Garbogist, because I'm supposed to read a book with a step back cover, although I do have a couple more coming up that may kick this one off the list. Now here I'm going to actually show more than one book. The first book was written in 1977, and the rest of the series were written later, so a little bit out of order. But Night of the Crabs by Guy N. Smith. These are a whole lot of fun. Supposedly, this book was written in 2 weeks, maybe a week. It certainly reads like that. It reads like Guy N. Smith was drunk as a lord and hammering out a story on his typewriter and then submitted it to the publisher. That's what it reads like. But it's a whole hell of a lot of fun. It's got some really bad sex scenes in here. Really stinkingly bad sex scenes. But it's about giant crabs killing people, so can't be too bad. And then we have Killer Crabs, the sequel, and this was 1978, and this is The Crabs Come Back, but this time they're in Australia. Again, cheesy but fun. Origin of the Crabs was 1979. I have not actually read this one yet. This is sort of a prequel. Apparently this will tell you how the giant crabs came into being. And it's just a fun old paperback of that nasty old crab on the cover, just looking really vicious. Crabs on the Rampage. This is 1981. Again, another one that I haven't read. Now, the problem with these crab books is that they are completely out of print. You cannot get them in a paperback. You cannot get them on digital. You cannot get them on audio. Finding the Crabs books in paperback can be a bit of a chore and a little expensive. Now, I bought all my Crabs books about 10, 15 years ago. Probably paid $20 for all of these. I think I bought one at a used bookstore and the rest on like eBay, but didn't pay that much back for them 15 years ago. But here's some prices on Amazon that you can pay. You can probably find them for cheaper. Night of the Crabs, $167.29. It's not worth it. Killer Crabs, $49.99. Again, not worth it. Origin of the Crabs, $87.30. You think it's worth it? Probably not. Well, that was Crabs on the Rampage. Crabs on the Rampage is $80. So I got the two covers swapped out. But, really expensive. Probably want to avoid it. 1980, Crooked Tree by Robert C. Wilson. I read this in the 80s. I remember the basic plot points. It is set on a Native American reservation with a sheriff who I don't believe is Native American, but he is, so he's probably not on the reservation, probably near the reservation, but he's married to a Native American woman. But there's some very strange murders going on that do not quite seem normal. And this, again, has an absolutely beautiful step back cover. Just look at that. Ah, gotta love these step back covers. So this is another candidate for Garbogist that I may want to reread. Now we are going to come to another series of books. 1980, Devil's Kiss by William Johnson. This is a book about Satanism. It's also a little preachy about religion, if I remember correctly. William W. Johnson is most famously known for his Western novels, but he did a whole lot of books about the devil and Satanism. Like right here is book 2, The Devil's Heart. That was actually 1982. The Devil's Touch, 1984. Ending up with The Devil's Cat, and that was 1987. They had this weird cover where it's like silvery and it has like, there we go. You can see if I get just the right angle to show that cat's head, which is kind of neat. Now, we are going to be reading the 5th book, The Devil's Laughter for Garbogist, because it was a book reviewed by Pax Panic. And we all wanted to sort of remember our friend who passed away by reading a book that she found very enjoyable and very trashy. 1991, Gila with the Explanation Point by Les Simons. Now that is a pseudonym. It was written by a woman. I don't remember her name. I actually have it on Kindle under her real name, but it is about giant Gila monsters. Again, this is a book with a Native American main character. It is set in the Southwest, where they are being plagued and eaten by giant Gila monsters. There is supposedly a twist ending. I saw the twist coming long before it happened, but it's a fun book. Pick it up in paperback if you can find it cheap, or get it on Kindle. Now we have another series of books that I want to show you. Published in 1983. This is Blackwater by Malcolm McDowell. This is set before World War I, at least in the first book. It is a story of a deep South town that is flooded. And a man goes on his skiff and he searches one of the hotels in the town and finds a woman just hanging out in that hotel, apparently trapped after the flood. And he likes her, she likes him, and they start raising a family. However, it's quite apparent that she's just not an ordinary woman that was trapped in the hotel room. And this is the first of 6 books. This is The Flood. This one also has a step back cover. Kind of neat. And it shows the family, because the 6 books are a family saga that will take it up through the lifetime of these characters. And I will show all the others. This is the Levy. This does not have the step back cover. The House. And each one of these books has an I. Rain, that is book 4. 5 is The Fortune. And it ends in The War. Now, if you look very carefully on these books, you will see they all have a price tag. Take a look at that price tag if you can. $1.25. That was $5.03. So I bought this around 2003 for $125. Now I'm going to read off the prices on Amazon. Again, you can probably find these cheaper elsewhere, but $62.08. $19.11. $21.66. $16.53. $33.61. And finally, $16.53. So these books are really pricey in paperback. However, you can purchase them in a single volume paperback for probably around $20. You can get them on audiobook from Audible, or you can get them on Kindle. All those prices are rather reasonable. Worm, 1987 by Harry Adam Knight. This is a book set in England. It features giant worms and voodoo. Yes, it is voodoo in England. This is an okay book. I enjoyed it. I read it in a day. I love the cover of that giant worm and the workmen in the tunnels under London running away from the giant worm. 1989, Dragon by William Scholl. This is a book about a dragon, but I actually showing this because I wanted to talk about another book that he wrote that I read in the 80s called Saurian. And that is a book that starts off 64 million years ago. And it is about a creature that lived back then that died in the first chapter. But did it die in the first chapter? It was a fun little horror novel. It is available on Kindle for like $4.99. So that's another book that I may want to reread. Crawling Dark by Pauline Dunn. This is an old Zebra paperback. This is most notable because this book actually has plagiarized passages from this book. Apparently, Pauline Dunn was a sister writing team, and one of the sisters was a rather lazy author, and she just looked up other people's works and stole what they wrote and stuck it in and submitted it to her sister as her own work. So one of these days, I am going to read Phantoms by Dean Koontz. I may have read this in my youth in the 80s, but I don't remember anything about it. And then read Pauline Dunn and find the plagiarized passages. That could be kind of fun. And this, of course, is out of print and unavailable because Dean Koontz did find out about it and he sued them. So you cannot legally purchase this book anymore because it contains plagiarized passages. So absolutely grab it if you see it in a used bookstore. And the last one is 1994, Edward Lee, Creakers. This is one of his early novels. Edward Lee is known for extremely graphic, extremely gory stories. And this one is about rednecks behaving badly in the backwoods of somewhere down south. And who knows what they're going to be getting up to. This is another book that I have not read, but Edward Lee is always an interesting read. So I will get to this someday. This is an older paperback, of course. I do believe it is available on Kindle rather cheap, so you don't have to pay the huge price that you would get for these paperbacks from hell. And that is all that I'm going to show you from now. Of course, I have many other vintage horror paperbacks, so maybe I'll do another video like this if there's a lot of interest. Well, thank you for watching, and keep on reading.